As the Great Storm raged on November 9, 1913, 8 ships and their crews on Lake Huron would not make it. Near the shore of Ontario, 3 ships fell victim to the waves, wind, and ice: the Hydrus, the Carruthers, and the Wexford. After the bodies of victims washed ashore, the people of Goderich, Ontario, took it upon themselves to honor them. Goderich still holds annual services at Knox Church to bless the ships and their crews, and just like in the days after the storm, they plan a service to honor the dead 100 years later. And then there's the monument of stone and steel.
That ship would be 40 feet probably up to the pilot house, and I wanted to show that the waves were actually curling up that high, and that was the idea of this type of a monument, that they would be able to see what actually went on out there.
While the Hydrus and the Carruthers' final location on the lake remain a mystery to this day, the Wexford was discovered in 2000. Its final resting place allowed the perfect venue for a water memorial for those who refuse to forget.
If we strip off how many ships and their names and what they did and go back down to the people, who was involved, what were their families like, how did that loss impact their family, their loss of income? It's just important to remember.
In September, a tugboat operated by a distant relative of Wexford crew members carried other descendants to the site, along with divers who would play a special part in honoring the Wexford crew.
A reading of all the crew members and a bell being rung on the Coast Guard boat, and each descendant throwing a white carnation onto the water. And as that was done, then we all went down with the wreath to attach it to the wreck.
A diver hanging a wreath of copper on the Wexford in memory of the sailors lost 100 years ago.
My thoughts were saying, we are here to remember you, Wexford crew. You know, you're not forgotten. We're all going to remember you still. And the wreath was a presentation to the crew. We are doing that for the crew and their descendants.
It was touching. Like, as I said, it was a distant cousin for me, but you look back and see the flowers on the water like that, and it kind of hits home as to what actually happened. You know, 23 lives just right out there gone.
David McAdams' commitment to honoring the lost crews of the Great Storm of 1913 goes beyond this memorial. He's devoted his music to telling their story, the story of those unclaimed and buried sailors whose identity is known only to God.
Family. I cannot stress enough the importance of family. It's none of my business what your family situation is at this moment, but after hearing this story, you may wish to patch up any squabbles that may be going on. This song is dedicated to the 5 souls that are buried in Maitland Cemetery in Goderich, Ontario. There's a tombstone there that is simply marked sailors. That's all it says on the one side. On the other side, it tributes 5 men that are buried there. No one knows who they are. They washed up on the beaches of Lake Huron, were brought to the town square with the other 57 souls. Many of the casualties had loved ones that came to claim them, identify them, but no one came to claim these 5 individuals. No one knows who they are, so this little story is dedicated to them. This tale starts out as a story of pride and independence, but it ends very tragic and alone. Again, family. Cannot stress it enough. Make amends. This song is called Nobody Claims Me. I am the son of a mother who died young. My father passed on when I was 21. My brother and I don't speak nor do write. We fell out over pennies and pride. Fell out over pennies and pride. So I packed up me life, my sea bag and knife, signed on to this laker the very next night. In 6 months I did steer, a good captain I revered. One of those memories I'll always hold dear, memories I'll always hold dear. This ship is me life, I haven't a wife, nobody claims me. My family is crew on these great lakes of blue. Nobody claims me, nobody claims me. The glass, it seems low, I've seen many a blow, but this one feels different, she's seeking my soul. Huron's beauty turns dark in this wintry churn. The lightship's long gone o'er the rail of our stern, gone o'er the rail of our stern. This ship is me life, I haven't a wife, nobody claims me. My family is crew on these great lakes of blue. Nobody claims me, nobody claims me. Where does one start when your ship breaks apart? Such a sickening sight one should see. One great big sea, I'm over the rail. Once more my home forsakes me. It's cold, so cold, it's so cold. Nobody claims me. My family, my crew, I think they're all gone too. Nobody claims me. This cold turns to calm, my will is all gone. Nobody claims me. As the water slips in, my light it grows dim. Nobody claims me, nobody claims me. I somehow watch from above as the bodies wash up, alone in the sand, shale and stone. In Godrich Town Square, you might find me there, but nobody claims me, still nobody claims me. I am the son of a mother who died young. My father passed on when I was 21.
Those with a connection to the Wexford through a long line of maritime service, making sure the lessons of the great storm of 1913 live on.
My mother grew up with stories of the Wexford when she was a young girl. Her grandfather and her father, they all talked about the wreck, and no one knew where it was. So for years, my mother was doting on, where's the Wexford and what happened to her grandfather, and certainly today puts that all to rest. A family member has represented the family, and we stood over the wreck and we said our goodbyes.
By the time the storm of 1913 was over, 12 ships had gone down, and the best estimate is around 260 people had been killed. The storm, in part, helped change the rules for late-season shipping on the lakes. and led to improvements in weather forecasting.
But I think back then, when there was a lot more ship competition and a lot more pride on the line, I think that played huge into it, that a lot of guys pushed. Again, you don't make money at anchor, you know, so they're going to push through to try to get that cargo through, and that's where they were lost.
If a storm this powerful were ever to hit the Great Lakes again, those who studied it say the loss of life and vessels would not be nearly as severe. Still, the 100-year lesson remains for those who care to learn from history, from the people of Goderich, Ontario, and from the steel and souls so violently sent to the bottom of the Great Lakes in November 1913.
Well, when you do look out on a quiet sunsider on the gently lapping waves like we have right here today, it is an amazing thing to be part of. But we also have to remember that there are times when the sea speaks to us in a very different way. It's also a powerful enemy when it wants to be, and perhaps it just sets us straight once in a while.